Excellent. Well, we're gonna just take about a minute or two here and let people come in. We've got people just beginning to show up here, so uh, we will socialize the group when we get a quorum.
Yeah, Monday morning. Good morning.
Anne, welcome.
Hi, good morning. Good day.
Moi from Finland, from
Moi.
Helsinki. Okay, moi moi.
Yes.
I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation, without any mental reservations.
It's so wonderful to join you again. So hopefully
Yes,
now I'm able to get into all the days. Like last time I was traveling here and there, so I didn't join every day, unfortunately.
good, good. And I'm going to be meeting with Brian a little bit later this afternoon.
That's
Oh,
great.
that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chad,
Hope that
welcome.
goes well.
Good morning, Blaine. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. It says your wife's name there, but I know who you are.
Oh, you know what? Let me come out and get it back into mind.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
we're glad to have you under any name.
That's right. No, I need to free it up for her to use it. Hold on.
Yeah,
Okay. So
there we
I
go.
felt June, the one. Yeah. Tanya, welcome. Welcome.
Good
Hi, Tanya.
morning.
Hi, Tanya.
Oh, wait, is it morning? Oh my God. Wait, no, it is.
Good morning. Where are you
It
located?
is morning where we are. Where are you coming in from?
San Diego, California.
Oh, okay. It is morning. Yeah.
You're right
Yeah.
down the road.
But I'm a Texas girl, so sometimes I'm in Texas. So it's like,
Okay. Okay.
Very good. Mr. Harris, good to see you.
Great to see you, Dawn.
Glad to
Brian,
have you
hello.
here,
Good to
sir.
see you there.
Great.
Oh.
Just as folks are it's Monday morning, so we're being a little graceful with time, letting everybody get in.
Ludwig, welcome. You had a little bit of trouble dropping in here. It's good to see you. Well, you're still having trouble. You just
Yeah.
dropped out again.
We'll have a conversation about setting the record for distance. I think so. Ryan is in. I think you're one of the distance joiners this morning.
Anne is in Helsinki. I know that.
Wow.
Ryan, where are you zooming from, Ryan?
Cairo.
How
Wow.
cool is that? That's very cool, Ryan. Welcome. This is Karen, by the way.
Thanks,
Good.
Karen. Yeah, welcome.
I know we will have somebody coming in from Dubai, maybe two people coming in from Dubai. Either one of them is
That's
got
awesome.
a conflict today, but she'll be here tomorrow. I mention that because we will get a broad range of perspectives here when we go into the breakout sessions.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
Are you at your place up on the island, Blaine? Or
I am, Chad. Yes, yeah, it's beautiful up here today. It's a little cool. It's upper 30s.
oh wow, yeah, that's a bit cool.
Yeah,
That is.
Ours
That
is
is.
beautiful, but 60.
yeah, good.
Yeah, it'll be cold here today, and it'll be about almost 70. So
Almost. Where are you? Where are you?
I'm in Torrance, which is a suburb of LA, right down by the beach.
Oh, I'm in Redondo Beach.
Oh, no way! Awesome.
I'm actually at the beach at the village.
Oh, no
my
kidding.
gosh.
We're right over. I live right by South High.
Oh yeah, you're right down the road. That's funny.
Right down the street. It's nice to meet you. Glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm actually at Torrance Beach.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's awesome.
Lisa, my goodness gracious, good to see you. How are you? And Janice, haven't seen you in a while
Morning,
either.
Janice.
Wonderful to see you.
Well, it's 5 after.
Yep.
And one of the things so we'll get started. We have I'm going to close a couple of windows and keep an eye on the waiting room as people come in here, since the waiting room is still turned on. I'm going to share an unelegant version. I'm going to do an unelegant share throughout the 5 days that we're together, rather than going to like full slide mode on the screen. I tend to just slow the show. I'm going to show the deck in raw mode, and that way we don't lose track of each other, and I can see you, and Blaine can see you, and because it's much more around our conversation together than us slide showing you. So I'm gonna share that as we get started.
And as he's getting started there, I want to mark out the word he used there, conversation. That's what this is intended to be. I mean, we've obviously got material that we're going to be sharing with you. But
Yes.
the idea here is conversation, and discovery happens in conversation. And we don't want to
Yeah.
presume that we know anything about what's going on in your life. We do have some information, like I said, that we want to share here, but it's in the
Little bit.
conversation that application emerges. So that's where we want to be directing most of what we're doing here, is in that conversational dialectic. So
Yeah. So I'm gonna get started. Welcome everybody. We're gonna start with a little bit about, as Blaine and I talked about the these 5-day challenges, and we'll introduce ourselves to all of you here in just a couple of minutes. But we were thinking about, why are you here? Why might you be attending this? And we broke it into kind of two lines of thought. The first is career, and scientifically, you can read the slides faster than I can read them to you. But as we think about it, some of it could be just gaining clarity on leadership vision. So what does it mean to be leaders? And one of the things Blaine and I touched on about how cool today is. I'm in some Southern California with my brethren in Redondo Beach with me here. How cool it is. If I slip into calling you all dude, just go with me. But that we're all here on a kind of an interesting leadership day. This is in the US, this is Martin Luther King Day. And Martin Luther King was in and unto himself a leader. And this is also, regardless of political proclivities, this is also a day where it's a transition of leadership in the United States. So this is a day where we get to come together as leaders, which makes today kind of a little special, I think, and talk about leadership and begin to put the framework in place. So for how we think about leaders, or at least how Blaine and I think about leadership, and hopefully share some of that with you. But as we're going through this, right, we think about, so things that you may be thinking of from a career perspective is what things can you do to empower your team for higher performance? You may be seeking new goals, new objectives, and doing that double stretch, reaching for things with your team you've not done before, preparing for leadership challenge, implementing accountability systems. How do you create a system in your organization that gives everybody, that implements accountability, not only just from a framework perspective, software, and there's 1,000 ways to do it, but what does accountability mean to create performance and measurable outcomes? And then how do you foster innovation and creativity? How do you go about those steps? What are those steps? And Blaine, I'll pass the next one to you.
yeah, and so those would be vocationally oriented reasons. Personally, and this is a particular bias that both Dolan and I share, leadership is the practice of influencing others. We're going to define this in greater detail here in a bit here. But it starts from the inside out. How effective am I at leading myself in my life? So there are some reasons that I may want to involve myself in a leadership development process. And some of those, would be steeped in things like building self-awareness. And when we look at self-awareness as an example, if you're familiar with the emotional intelligence model, Daniel Goleman, who was the developer of that, fully 90+% of a leader's effectiveness is organized around his or her self-awareness, the awareness that they have of themselves, of what's going on with them, as well as situationally what's going on in their environment. But building, increasing my self-awareness, and the power of awareness is it leads to a discovery of more choices. Increase awareness, I begin to notice more choices that are available to me. As long as I've got a very narrow awareness focus, things are eliminated that I don't see, I don't recognize, that I have access to, that I could actually leverage more effectively. So I might want to be here just to increase my my own sense of personal awareness. Um, Stress management, things happen. I mean, we certainly can point to a lot of different things in the environment today, and in the, you know, economically as well as politically as well as socially. How do I manage stress when there's a lot of perturbation, when there's a lot of, yeah, upheaval? So part of that has to do with my ability to lead myself through difficult situations. Aligning my personal values and my leadership goals. This one, in the work that, you know, both Dolan and I have spent over, combined, we've got about 90 plus years of leadership development work. That's why our hair is the color it is. But how do we align leadership objectives with personal values so that there is not a rift, where I don't feel as if I'm being asked to do, or I'm being, challenged to do something that is a violation of who I believe myself to be. And that becomes a real interesting, internal conversation. And then, enhancing my communication skills. And this will become more apparent as we define leadership here in just a moment. But how do I get people to come along with me? And we're going to make a presumption here that the traditional command and control leadership model no longer serves in the environments in which we operate. So it becomes more of a question of how do I influence others to come along with me, rather than how do I command them to come along with me. And that's a communication function. And then the idea of continual growth. We set goals as leaders, we set goals as individuals, because usually the default is we want to get something. We want to disabuse ourselves of that notion. Yeah, it's nice to get some things, but the reason we set goals ideally is to grow. So if we're not setting goals to grow, and I call them growls, not goals, we got growls out there, then we've got something that we can begin to organize around. And this is where Martin Luther King really, I think, is an exemplar of this. He said, "I have a dream." He didn't say, "I have a plan." Yeah, okay. I have a dream is out there. I mean, literally, I don't know how to achieve it, but I know it's important. I know it's something that I can't not move towards. If I have a plan already, I already know how to do it. So there's not much growth in that. So at a personal level, that, kind of comes into play here as well. So we've got both the vocational and the avocational, the career and the personal, that come into play here as leaders. So that's what we're going to be looking at over the course of these next 5 days.
Good. Thank you. So the way the days are going to flow is today we're going to focus in on discovering your why, and we'll get into some exercises around it. Tuesday is we'll talk about dimensions of leadership, and we'll do a little self-assessment tomorrow morning as we kind of look at our positioning gaps and things we can work on, some muscles. And then Wednesday we'll talk about leading through change. Thursday, integrating leadership, where we'll talk about goals, and we'll focus in on what that looks like. And then Friday, we're going to talk about turning vision into action, which is taking all of the content that we've talked about throughout the week and then integrating it into a final solution. And one of the things that Friday at the, as we close out the day Friday, we'll give everybody a 30-day plan and an outline for a 30-day plan that you can use to apply this to your business, to your teams, to your life, and or at least as an outline that you can review. So that'll be part of what we do on Friday as well. So that's our agenda for the week. I want to take just a minute and talk a little bit about the flow and what to expect on a daily basis. As Blaine mentioned, when we first talked about this, so we've all been in challenges and in scenarios where we've gone to an event or a meeting like this, and you have a couple of folks talk at you for an hour, and that's not what we're going to do. This is a working challenge where we will be giving you worksheets on a daily basis, and then we'll be working through those worksheets together. We're going to go about 75 minutes each day. Blaine and I did this in early December together, and one of the lessons we learned was it's hard for us to quit talking. So we're going to try to stay very focused and bring you the content, and because this is a very conversational kind of a challenge. So we're going to go generally about an hour and 15 minutes. We will do our absolute best not to go past that point. If we go a little early, then earlier than that, then we shall, but plan for that. We will have breakouts. So as part of each day, we will go into breakouts, and the breakouts will be, for those of you who've used Zoom before and done breakouts, I'm going to hit the magic button that says just automatically generate the rooms. So it's likely you're going to be in a room with somebody different talking about the working topics of the day, and the breakouts will be about 10 minutes long. I'm not going to slide show you, as I mentioned to you earlier. The goal is not to do that. And on Friday, Blaine and I will be talking about our partnership together and an opportunity to stay in the study. So we will be making an offer to stay for that. And we'll tell you all about that. We will not discuss that making an offer or what we're going to tell you any other day this week. And it will be after we're done on Friday. So those that are interested, we'll invite you just to hang out with us, but we will not be using any of the 5-day challenge time to talk with you about but wait, there's more. We will not be doing that with you guys. So that's our flow for this week. Everybody in for the flow? You're over here on this screen. So if you see me looking over my shoulder, it's because I put you on a different desktop.
Yeah,
Great.
just thumbs up. Yeah. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Thanks.
Well, I don't know, for those of you who've not met us, I'm only going to point out that Blaine is distinguished and I'm seasoned, but I'll let Blaine introduce himself. And we'll take 2 minutes and just talk about who we are, what we've done, and then I want to really just get right into the content today and get going.
Yeah, and this really is kind of the way that we answer the question, why should we listen to you guys?
Yeah.
I mean, if we were in your seat, why would we listen to you guys? And I'll speak for myself here. Yeah, I've got over four decades working with leaders around the world, and I've developed programs that are used in large organizations around the world, specifically focused on leadership development. I've worked with some of the largest enterprises on the planet, as well as startups, NGOs, basically just all over the map. And it's market sector agnostic. I haven't really focused on any one particular sector. Leadership is leadership, regardless of the environments in which you find yourself. So everything that we're going to be looking at here is stuff that both Dolan and I have developed in our work with leaders over the years. It's practical, it's applicable. You fine tune it and tweak it a little bit for your own environment, but the material we're going to be sharing with you absolutely is it's viable. It works. This stuff works. And as far as just who I am, just at a personal note, I'm a grandfather, married to a beautiful woman by the name of Cynthia Kersey, who runs the Unstoppable Foundation. And
Yeah.
we're not going to promote that at all, although I am on their board of directors, and we've got a lot of work that we're doing there. But the idea here is, leadership has application in personal lives, as we mentioned earlier, as well as professional lives. So how I lead my family, and as the patriarch of the family, I have to pay attention to my leadership's skills, if you will. And partly because my grandkids don't care that I'm the CEO of my company. I mean, that carries no weight at all. And this is one of the things that I've learned over the course of the last 40 plus years is the role is not the important thing. People don't follow you because of your role. They follow you because of your soul.
Yeah.
And it's that connection to soul that we want to be able to bring to the forefront. And this is not a religious context. It's that piece that is who I am that comes through, that allows people to connect with me. And it's that connection that we want to foster. And that's the last 40 years of my work has been organized around how do we connect? How do we connect to each other as well as to goals and objectives? And there's a science to it as well as an art to it. So that's what we'll be sharing with you over the course of the next 5 days.
Awesome.
Mr. Seasoned Leadership Coach.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. And for those of you that I've not met, I'm Dolan. I spent just that the encapsulated version, I spent more than 30 years in the software industry. I'm an engineer by trade, originally way pre-gray hair, was a chef for 13 years. So if you need to know anything about working in kitchen, I can talk to you about that. But I spent about 30 years in the software industry, led global teams, large organizations, a couple of thousand folks, and got to discover leadership the hard way by traveling all over the world and teaching leadership and discovering that the quote that's on this slide is can be pretty accurate. An expert is someone who knows more and more about less and less until he finally knows everything about nothing. And leadership is that continuous journey that we're continually practicing leadership. And when we left the software industry, I became CEO of a large successful marketing firm. Led that firm for several years, and then was a chief operating officer for an international training company for a handful of years. And in April 1st of this last year, retired, married for 38 years, bunch of grandkids, and 5 sons, and retired in. I'm busier now than I was. My wife, every now and then, Linda is her name, comes in and puts her hand on my shoulder and reminds me, you are retired.
And
You
then I
are
come up
retired.
and say, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, not really. So I'm doing executive coaching, I host a podcast, as Blaine hosts a podcast as well, and love having the opportunity to come work with individuals and talk about things that we learned and still continue to work towards mastery by staying in the study and working with our clients and helping them succeed. And it's an honor for both of us to be here with all of you today. So, and thank you for being here with us and for trusting us to come hear what we have to say. So I appreciate that trust. It's not taken lightly. So that's me. And
So,
I'm younger than Blaine, by the way.
but I'm better.
Just putting it out there. All right, so let's get into the content.
Yeah.
Today is
time to
day
go here.
one.
Day
Yeah,
one.
we're going to discover your why, and I'm going to start with the 5 lies. Mr. Bartlett, you want to talk about the 5 lies?
Well, like I said, we've got about, over 90 years of collective experience in working with leaders. And there is something that, struck both of us when we were putting this material together.
Yeah.
We kind of, started at the end in mind here and said, what will, if people have gotten to this point of being successful as leaders, what did they have to navigate through? And one of the things that, was most obvious and actually kind of the most fun for us to explore was, what are the lies that they buy into on the front end of their journey, or even the mid part of their journey, that keeps them stuck or gets them derailed? And we basically identified 5, and this, it's not an exhaustive list by any means, but these are the 5
Right.
major themes that seem to get people in trouble, from a leadership perspective. Number 1, thinking that you have to be in charge. Yeah. And this goes to the role piece. Yeah. I'm the leader. I'm supposed to know what's going on. And, leaders don't like surprises. Managers don't like surprises. In order to, maintain the ability to not be surprised, I have to control things. That is an enormous lie. Because if we really look at the function of leadership, it moves us into territory we've never been before. It moves our organization into territory it's never been before. And knowing what's going to happen goes out the window when you move into unknown territory. So how could you know what you don't know? So that pretense, gets people in trouble very, very quickly. And it doesn't give people a way to connect with you as a leader. An old mentor of mine years ago said people connect through vulnerability. And I added a little addendum to that, which was people connect through vulnerability, yes, but they also disconnect with certainty. So if you position yourself as a leader as knowing the answer, you don't give people any way to connect to what's going on. The second lie here has to be, and it goes right into this piece around vulnerability. You have to appear invulnerable. It's kind of like I put this facade in front of me. We'll talk about this as we get into the program over the next couple of days here, but the way that I define authenticity, and this is part of what we're looking at here with being available, being vulnerable. Authenticity has to do with what happens when I stop trying to manage your perception of me and I just show up. When I stop trying to manage your perception of me, now you've got somebody that will actually interact with you. And that is a vulnerable place to be. So that lie about appearing invulnerable gets you into trouble really, really quickly. And a focus on outcomes. In large systems, in small systems, in families, the lie that we tell ourselves is that the result matters. Yes, the result matters, but the focus becomes on the result to the, yeah, and you miss everything else here. Yes, the result matters, but it's not all that matters. What we want to learn how to do as leaders is manage the network of commitments that people make that are designed to produce the result. So managing that network of commitments that people are saying yes to, that's where leadership comes into play here. And this is why communication becomes so relevant. Managing that network of communications is a different focal area than managing towards an outcome, because it's a very complex system. Life is a complex system. The fourth one here is that I'm going to make the decisions. I've got the title, I've got the role. My responsibility is to make the decision. We want to disabuse you of that, because that one will get you in trouble just as quickly as just about any of these others. And the other one is avoiding feedback. An old friend of mine one time said, feedback is the breakfast of champions.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what we're looking at here. You've got to find a way to get trusted advisors to give you an honest assessment of how am I doing, not what am I doing, but how am I doing. The lie I tell myself, though, and the lie that is often told when people are starting out as leaders is, just drive forward. Okay. And if you've got feedback coming in that says you're doing it wrong, ignore it, because they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. Yeah, actually, they probably do know what they're talking about in some way, shape, or form. So
Yeah.
these are the major lies that we're going to be kind of addressing, because they will get us in trouble real quickly. And it's all in the domain of leadership development. This stuff becomes kind of the water that the fish swim in. We don't even recognize its presence. And in a large way, this becomes part of our mindset as we enter the activity of leading. It just becomes out of sight, out of mind, but it's there controlling everything.
And one thing so this morning I was listening to an interview with CEO of HubSpot, and she was talking about what she was told when she was ascending into the CEO role. And for those of you, if you don't know, HubSpot's a marketing company, a large marketing company, and they do all kinds of stuff. But she was ascending into that role, and she recited almost every single one of these as the advice that was given to her to be an effective CEO. And her comment at the very end of it was she discovered that it was all rubbish. I think was the word that she used, that it was inaccurate, that you have to be vulnerable. The outcomes, the path to the outcomes, and the team is more important. So it was really interesting to hear a CEO talk about these lies, these 5 lies, and that were as given to her as advice on how to be effective when you're leading an organization, leading a company. And by shifting those, her HubSpot obviously thrives. So I'm gonna go on to the next slide.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd throw that. It was very serendipitous. I don't get to use that word very often. That's a $3 word, serendipitous.
Serendipitous.
So, there you go. All right.
Distinction between motivation and inspiration, and both of these are going to be relevant as we look at our roles as leaders. Now the key distinction to be made here is that, and this is the one that people will pay a lot of attention to, is how do I motivate my team? How do I get them to do things? How do I get how do I get my teenager to clean up their room? Or how do I get my staff to do whatever it is I need my staff to do. So motivation, here's the deal with motivation. It's an externally driven process. We've all heard the phrase, the carrot and the stick. What's the carrot out there that we kind of move toward people towards, or what's the stick I can use to kind of thump them along the way here to get keep them moving, driving cattle, so to speak. It's the idea of motivation. If that's the only tool I've got in my toolbox, I'm going to be very limited in terms of how I lead others. We want to be able to develop as well how we inspire others. Inspiration is an internal dynamic. And as we get into the 5 days here, we're going to be taking a look at just this notion of internal motivation as it links into this inspiration. You know, what gets tapped into that all of a sudden the life force in the individual, it wakes up and they go, I can't not have that. This becomes such a driving element in what it is that I'm doing in my organization or in my life, that it's a spark. And all I want to be able to do is fuel that. So when you can bring both of these into play at the same time, you've got a very powerful way of actually, creating results, because what happens is you've got people that not only are doing things, but they're doing it because they want to, not because you ask them to. That becomes a very big distinction. And it becomes a very, if you want to make things easy for yourself, inspiration becomes the linchpin, if
Yeah.
you will, that creates that kind of movement. So we will go into much greater detail on this, but I wanted to just land, there is a distinction between motivation and inspiration. And we're going to be playing with these two.
Yeah, quite a bit. So over the next few days, we're going to talk about reference models, and we'll get more into this. But in this slide, I just wanted to just lean in on, and we'll review these on a daily basis. So this isn't something that we commit to memory today, but we'll live into it across the next few days. And I'll give you content that helps keeps this fresh for you. So I'm gonna start with Blaine talking about the leadership universe and the importance of the universe, and then I'll talk a little bit about the 4 pillars, that circle diagram.
Yeah, the idea of leadership models, okay, it's never the terrain itself. It's, it's just a map of the terrain. So it gives us, some way of beginning to navigate what's going on here. I developed this leadership universe model off of work that I had done with clients. And I started paying attention to where's the demarcation line, where's the difference between organizations and individuals that were highly successful and those that were moderately successful or not successful. And what began to occur to me was the traditional leadership model that most people are familiar with in organizations are focused on 3 primary things: vision, strategy, and tactics. What's our vision? What's a viable path, the strategy that might get us to that vision? And then what are the tactics that we actually engage in as we execute that strategy? So vision, strategy, and tactics, which is the why, the what, and the how. That's where almost exclusively most leadership developmental work is done, is on those 3 primary areas. The demarcation goes across that bottom line under why, and it drops us into a completely different area of exploration. Mindset drives decision making. It actually determines what I see as possible, what I don't see as possible.
Yeah.
Everybody, just real quickly, cross your arms in front of you. Just cross your arms. Yeah, you can do this without even thinking. Now do it the other way. Yeah, you kind of have to pause and think a little bit here. It's a little awkward. This is a real crude example of mindset. Mindset is habituated behavior, habituated ways of doing things that become automatic over time, and we don't even notice it. Studies show that over 95% of an adult's behavior by the time they are 30 years of age has been subliminally embedded, imprinted into their mindset. It goes into the subconscious, and it drives 95% of our behavior is driven by mindset. It's not driven by conscious actions or conscious thought. It's driven by the subliminal work that goes on underneath we're not even particularly aware of, which kind of goes back to the notion of why do we want to become more self-aware? When we can begin working at the level of mindset, all of a sudden possibilities appear that were always there, but we have never noticed. Now, that next level down is what we call spirit or soul. And this has no religious connotation at all. It has to do with what's that spark that drives passion? What's that spark that brings creativity and innovation to the forefront? What's that piece that I wake up in the morning and go, I can't not have that. Okay. And that keeps us moving. If you can tap into that, and in an organization, we call this emotional engagement. And it's a transition between I have to do this to I want to do this, because I want to do it because it's personally meaningful to me. There's something in here that wants to be expressed out there. So a lot of our work, with the work that Dolan and I do, is not on the strategy, tactics, and vision piece. We pay attention to that, but it really works on the mindset and the spirit and the soul component. And this is typically not very familiar territory for most people when we start developing it. So this will be where we're going to be spending a fair amount of time over the course of the next 5 days.
Yeah.
And then there's pillars that support all of this.
Yeah, and then there's 4 pillars, and I'll just a little background to the 4 pillars, and I'll just talk very, very briefly about them because we'll dive into them at depth as we kind of get into day 3, day 4. But one of the lessons I learned as CEO of a company is no one model fits all companies, and there are a lot of models out there. And when you take a model, and I'll tell you a practical experience on how I, as a CEO, learned and blew up a company for about 6 months by taking a model and applying the model willy-nilly to at the top of an organization and saying, damn the torpedoes, this is the model we're going to go, and we're all going to march to this model, and we're all going to go do this. And without any of the social components, trust components, communication, trusting people, empowering your organization, the organization literally imploded. And it took about 6 months to unravel my decision, and a small amount of money that had a little more than 7 figures associated with it to unravel. Unfortunately, we came up better for all of it. And because of that, over the years, I developed 4 pillars that I focus with clients and coaching and organizations that I've led. And they're really built on these 4 pieces: trust and autonomy. Trust is the cornerstone. Trust is the foundation for what we do as leaders. And there's 4 pieces to trust. We have to trust ourselves. We have to trust our team or the individuals on our team. And our team has to trust, members of our team has to trust themselves and trust us. And being the grandson of a redneck, I can clearly say that when trust is broken, people can smell it on you because they know trust is not solid. So there is an art, and we'll talk about developing trust, communication and transparency, and we'll talk about modes of communication as it aligns into the universe, the leadership universe, and being transparent. And I'll kind of dive into, you're interested in the conversation a little bit around, so how transparent are you really? What is, do we tell them everything? What do we do? And growth and innovation really is built on the hinge of, because it's small hinges that move big doors. The growth and innovation is really built on promoting a culture that learns from itself. Trust empowers people with the ability to try. And when people try, you attain growth and innovation. You're going to make mistakes and bumble and try different things, but that cornerstone gives you the ability to have growth and innovation. And in systems of accountability, really is all about alignment. It's not about the system, but it's about how do you put a system in place so that your team is committed. They understand organizational goals and they're in. We'll talk a little bit about that on day 3 or day 4, a little bit more about systems of accountability and things to expect kind of through that. But both Blaine and I wanted, before we get into the first worksheet for the week, we wanted to put these pillars in front of you and the leadership universe, because these are the frameworks that we'll use throughout our conversation in the week. And then tomorrow I'll give you a cheat sheet so that you have a printed version of this. So I'm gonna move on, and we're gonna start with our first worksheet. And I'm gonna go into the chat, and I'm gonna stop my share because I want to make sure everybody can see this, because last time we did this, it wasn't as elegant as I would like it to be. Which is wonderful because, as you know, Blaine and I may be able to coach leadership, However, that doesn't make us smooth Zoom guys. I'm going to drop this into the chat and hit send. Please take a look in the chat, and you're looking for a PDF. And if you open that PDF, can everybody see that? Is it in the chat with everybody? I can't believe I got that right. I think last time we did this, it took 9 minutes to figure this out. So we got that right. So when you open the PDF, let me share my screen. We're going to start with the top part of the document and talk about this. And Blaine, do you want to, since you were talking about motivation and inspiration, do you want to kind of lead through some of these, and then I'll add into it as we go along?
Yeah,
You can tell this is well rehearsed.
they're very well rehearsed here. We're making it up as we go along, and it's all good. The idea here, and you'll see 2, 4, 6, 8 boxes there. Now, the bottom 4 are grayed out. We'll come back to those later. We want to focus here on these top 4. So I'm going to enlarge this so that I can see it.
There you go. You got it?
Kinda,
You make it a little bigger.
there we go. Yeah, so that people can kind of walk through this.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Get my glasses on. You're going to make me do this, aren't you? Yes.
I know. Well, as you're getting squared away there. Yeah. So the first one, we talk about what motivates you to lead. Remember when Blaine was talking about motivation? And so we're going to ask these questions, and these should be fillable, or you can print them out and fill them out by hand. But
Yeah.
each of the cells on your computer should be fillable. So we're going to encourage you. This isn't stuff you're going to take home and go do. We're going to do this now. So
And we're gonna, now this is the first brush at this, so don't
Yeah.
worry about in-depth answers. This is just kind of first thought, best thoughts sort of a thing here.
right.
So as you look at your sheet there, the first question is, what motivates you to lead? That's kind of the answer to Simon Sinek's question about, the why. Why do you want to lead? Why do you lead? Why do you want to take charge? Why do you want to direct things? Why do you want to have people following you? And whatever pops into mind there makes sense. I mean, it does. It's not good or bad, right or wrong. It is just kind of what pops into mind right now. So what motivates you to want to be in a role of leader? And we haven't yet defined what leaders are or what leadership is, and
No.
we will be doing that. But this is the first first look at this here. So whatever pops into your mind here, that's what you're going to drop onto that piece of paper or on that PDF. Number 2 here, core values. What are your core values? If you had to identify, let's just say 3, what are the 3 core values that guide your decision making in your life? The decisions that you make about what you do, how you do, where you do, I mean, those sorts of things. Now, I want to make a distinction here between core values and things that I value. I value my house. I value my dog. I value my car. They're
Yeah.
important to me, but they're not my core values. My core values are things that if there's something that is egregious or something that happens to that value, it's like, you may not understand this analogy here, but it's like fingernails on a chalkboard. It's that screech, and it kind of goes, oh, this is not right. And that's where the core value comes into play. Ooh, this is either right or this is not right, and it's core. So examples would be acting with integrity or honesty. I mean, they're very similar, but they are a little bit different here. Those would be core values. How I'm making decisions that are organized around these value cores. Question number 3, organization's mission. Now, if you're not part of a company right now, that's fine. Look at your family, look at your personal life. What's the mission of your organization? What's it intended to do? Now, this is a little bit different than the vision. Okay. But what's your organization intended to produce out there in the future in some way, shape, or form? Question number 4, how does your personal purpose align with your organization's mission? So if I'm part of a company and the mission of the company is, well, my daughter works for Starbucks. She's worked for Starbucks for about 20 plus years. She's in a senior position in their store development group. The organization of Starbucks is to, and it's not to sell coffee, by the way. It's to create this third place where people can have communion, where they can sit and actually connect. That's the organization's mission. How does her personal purpose align with the organization's mission? My daughter is a connector. I mean, that is what she does in her life. She connects people. She connects. She's always looking for where's the connection that I can actually, that will make a difference to what I'm doing. So there is alignment, and this is one of the reasons that she's been there for 20 plus years. She gets to be who she is in that environment in a way that is fulfilling and satisfying to her. Not 100% of the time, but a significant amount of time. So what we're asking you to do here is to take a look at these 4 questions and just quickly just jot top of mind what comes into play for you here.
And to just so I'm gonna set a timer. Normally I have like music playing, which I completely forgot to have music playing. So I'll hum along, or Blaine and I both play harmonica. We'll get our harmonicas out. But I'm gonna set a timer for 5 minutes. And this is very short and it's imperfect. These are the thoughts that come into your mind with an opportunity for you to put content into these 4 blocks. So I'll start a timer now and I'll give you some warnings as we're going along through that. So take a few minutes. What motivates you to lead? What are your core values? What's your organization's mission? And then how do you align with your organization's mission, your personal purpose, your core values? Are you in alignment? We've got about 2 more minutes. about another 30 seconds or so. Okay. Mm. We can stop. How was that?
A lot of work.
A lot of work for 5 minutes. Yeah.
How many of you had some difficulty answering one or more of those questions?
All three.
All three. Okay, there were actually four, Tanya.
No, I know there are 8, but I just did 3.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
For all the same ones that Maria keeps pounding on me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Chad. Yeah. The second one.
Awesome.
This is good.
Great. All right, let's go on to the bottom half of the form. So I'm gonna change slides on this here.
Yeah,
You,
just
Mr.
change them
Bartlett,
up
you
a
want to talk a
little
little bit about IM and
Yeah. We're going to, again, this is something that we're going to explore in a whole lot more depth over the course of the next 5 days
Yeah.
here. But if we look at how I define myself makes a big difference in what I do in my life. And this question about how I define myself, it's not the waking hour definition. It's the 3 o'clock in the morning conversation I have with myself that actually begins to generate a lot of stuff in my life. And this question begins to open the door a little bit, if you will, to an exploration of my mindset. What is that 95%? When I lift the cover up a little bit, what's in here? What do I pay attention to? What do I notice? So this question of I am is not a hypothetical question. Each of us are continuously answering this day to day through our behaviors. My reality, and this is a philosophical perspective. There is nothing out there in what I call reality. There is nothing out there. It's all a projection of who I am. It's all a projection of who I am. And yeah, the good news and the bad news, if I can put it in categories of good and bad. I'm continuously dealing with aspects of self. I am continuously interacting with a part of me that's out there someplace. If something perturbs me or upsets me, it's not the thing that's upsetting me. It's an aspect of myself that is actually being presented to me to look at and say, okay, how do I work with this? If it wasn't a part of me, it wouldn't upset me. If somebody called me a duck, I mean, as an example, I'm not going to get upset because I don't feel myself as being a duck. Okay. Yeah. But if I had some affinity towards duckness, in my mindset, and somebody called me a duck and they went, well, what do you mean I'm a duck? How dare you? That's because it lives inside me. So this question of who I am becomes an identity question. And we want to be able to, we'll never answer this question fully unless we're the Buddha sitting under the the tree, going, I am, therefore I am. I am that I am. No, that's not where I'm going with this. This is pragmatic. It's what it reflects the beliefs I hold about myself, about the reality that I'm creating. And again, this is just, we're lifting the cover on this. There is no expectation that anybody on this call is going to have a discrete answer or a definitive answer to this question, but we want to explore it. We want to explore that 3 a.m. Conversation that I hold with myself that nobody else is aware of. I'm not good enough. I shouldn't. I should. I can. I can't. I mean, all of these things are rooted in I amness. And that is really worth taking a look at, because as a leader, it gets projected outward. And people resonate with this. There's a vibrational frequency to the way I define that question. I am. Who am I? There's a vibrational frequency, and that frequency resonates out into the world, and it attracts other things that are resonating on that frequency band. And that's where we begin to take a look at consciousness is cause, manifestation is effect. Consciousness is cause, everything is consciousness. Consciousness is cause, manifestation is effect. I'm always manifesting that which is conscious, and most of my consciousness is out of my awareness. This is why we want to explore this question of I am.
Yeah.
So this moves us into the bottom part of our worksheet. So
Yeah.
if you would go back to this, and we're going to be having a conversation with this in a breakout session in just a moment here. But very quickly, and again, first thought, best thought. Don't worry about it being accurate. Don't even worry about it being right. It's just kind of, if it pops into your mind, put it on this piece of paper. Define your leadership, I am. When people look at you, what do you take a stand for? I am what? I am what? I am who? Yeah. How would you define your leadership within the context of I am? Whatever pops into mind here. What are 3 action steps, pragmatic things that you can do today that will embody your leadership purpose? What were 3 things that you can do that will actually demonstrably move you towards expressing that in a granular, pragmatic way? And as you identify those 3 action steps that you could take, what would likely trip you up? Okay. What would be the impediment? What would be the obstacle that you might encounter if you started to fully take that action step? And then just imagination. How might you overcome or deal with that barrier or those barriers such that they weren't blocking you from fully expressing yourself as a leader? So these 4 things, and again, we'll take about 5 minutes here, and get first thought, best thought. Don't worry about it being accurate. Don't worry about it being right. It's just a conversation starter. That's what these things are that we're putting on, we're putting down right now, are conversation starters. They are not intended to be conversation enders. Okay.
Okay. I'll start our timer.
Starter
I'll give us,
timer. Yeah.
give us a couple of warnings and then we'll take 5 minutes and we'll do this. And then we'll be moving into some breakouts so you have an opportunity to meet each other and share a little bit.
Da dee da da bumpy da da dee da 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 da.
I was looking for my harmonica quickly to see. We're going to distract them from their work. So
Yeah,
I'll
well, let's not do that. Yeah, I mean, I've got mine right here, sir.
you go perfect. Got about a minute and a half left. About 30 seconds if you want to start wrapping down here. It's a lot to do in 5 minutes. Okay. That's 5 minutes. How'd that feel? A lot to do? Yeah, good. I see thumbs up. Thanks,
Okay.
Tanya. So the one thing we're gonna move us into some breakouts for about 10 minutes, I think was
Yeah.
about the right amount of time for an opportunity for you to, first of all, for you to meet each other and just share, but it's an opportunity this is where, there is it's too far outside of the reach of my hand. There's a book, Think and Grow Rich, written by some guy named Napoleon Hill that talks about the power of the mastermind. And the power of the mastermind isn't necessarily just Blaine and I going through the content. These are our experiences and things that we can share with you to help you through your process, but also the power of our mastermind together and the cohort that we build out of this and the friendships that come out of these few days. So I'm gonna move us into some breakouts. Breakouts will be at 10 minutes. I'm gonna randomly generate them. I'd say I'm gonna create 3 breakouts.
3,
Yeah, 3. Think 3 is good, or 2.
4.
4? Oh, I'm gonna go to 4 breakouts.
Oh, 3's good. 3's good. I'm sorry. I was just, let's see what other number we can throw out
You
here.
can tell this is well rehearsed. So I'm going to move us into it, and it's really an opportunity for you to share your experiences, share your thoughts, because we all have a different place and a different season, which we'll talk about where we are in our career and our leadership journey. So it's our chance to do that. I'm going to open the rooms. You should see a link pop up that moves you in, and I know if you have any challenges with it, we'll help you. We'll kind of help you through all
Yeah.
that. So I'm going to open
And-
all the rooms. Go ahead.
Yeah, and what you're going to be focusing on here is, you've got the worksheet in front of you. You can, 10 minutes is not going to be a lot of time here. So there's no
No.
intention of going through all 8 of these different things. Don't worry about that. But I think it would be valuable to organize around, why are you here? What do you want to take away from this? You've got something, something on your sheet here that informs some of that, in terms of answers. Why are you here? What do you want to pull away from this as a leader? And why is that important to you? What does it make possible for you? Those sorts of questions might become very relevant to explore in your breakout sessions. And again, this is the first time we're going to be doing this. This is going to be, we're setting the stage for the next 4 days. We're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper with more and more conversation over these 4 days. Less and less blah blah coming from Dolan and myself.
All right, I'm hitting go. Make sure everybody can see the links. Let's see, I see MR. Bella, are you okay?
She was having some internet difficulties, I know.
Yeah, could be a challenge for Bella. And MR, the initials MR. I want to make sure you're okay and you saw the link. You were able to join your breakout room. Toda-san.
Toda-san, feel free to just jump in, Toda-san, to the breakout room. You can at least hear what they're talking about. And yeah, you'll understand a little bit, hopefully, of some of that, okay? At least let them see your face.
Resume recording. And then I want to hit the close the meeting rooms button.
Because they get another 30 seconds or something after, the
Yeah.
time things. Okay.
They have 60 seconds. So everybody has a note that the meeting rooms are closing.
I wonder who Ariel is. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, okay.
Welcome back.
Brief conversations, we know, only 10 minutes here, but we will open this up a little further. Like I said at the beginning, and we're still having folks come back in. You get an extra 30 seconds when the dinger goes.
Yeah.
But how'd it go for you guys? Yeah. Good enough? Workable? Okay. Good.
Ludwig, you good for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it gave us a chance to kind of get an idea of where we're at in our lives and what we're trying to get out of this.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Now, Ludwig is just coming into a new position. I know, yeah, he and I had an opportunity to speak over the weekend. So he's got a new role coming on in a new company. So this is good stuff. Good.
All right. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back, everybody.
Everybody coming back into the room.
Hey, Brian. Good
Glad
to see
everybody's
you.
here.
Yeah, from Uganda. So
Yes,
Yeah, welcome.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Welcome,
Yeah.
welcome. All right. So the experience with having an opportunity to meet each other, we had the first group come back. Everybody have a good conversation.
Yes.
Good.
That
Hi,
was-
Lauren. Welcome.
Okay.
It was wonderful. We are a bunch of talkers, and Sylvia didn't get to finish, but I hope we can continue with that.
We definitely will, and we will expand the time together, Ariel. So
Yes. Yeah, that's good. I am glad. And in the coming days, so as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, today is the most talking that Blaine and I do. Because today is the framework day when we if we just get us going, and as we head into the next, there's a lot more work that we'll be doing together. So
we're a little bit past 4 minutes past our
let's
declared ending
let
time.
me share my screen.
Yeah, we're gonna put a cap on this for today.
All right, that's Blaine's hint for me to quit talking. And so as we're wrapping up, I'm going to put into the chat right now a link to our private. There's a private LinkedIn group that everybody will ask you to please go apply to this group. It is a private, non-published LinkedIn group that is only for this group. If for any reason you're not a member of LinkedIn, or LinkedIn is not your cup of tea, then you can send us an email. Let me put my email in the chat just as we're going. Well, that didn't work because I killed that. Hang on. I have a little shortcut that I can do with it. There we go. There's my email. You can send an email every day when we're done in the LinkedIn group. We'll be posting the video of the day's session, another copy of the worksheet. So there'll be another copy posted in there. And what Blaine and I would love is that LinkedIn group is a way for us also to extend the conversation. So if you have observations, or if you want to leave a little video about your experience, it's a place to go do that. That is not a public forum. It's not Facebook. It is not, it's not a place to go do those things. So it's only us in that group. So it's protected and it's shared just as this family is. So we'll invite you to please do that. Also, if you I know that the worksheet was a lot of content. as Tanya mentioned, it's kind of like, yeah, thank you so much for only giving me 5 minutes for 2 hours worth of work. So if you
Yeah.
would like to spend some time inside of the worksheet tonight, you can do that. We'll talk a little bit about it in the morning, and then we'll get into tomorrow's topic. What we talked about today will be a component of our conversation every day. Every day stacks on the previous day. So as we go through, all of this is not one time only, but it's an opportunity for us to stack the content, stack our learning. So on that note, I don't have anything else to add. Mr. Bartlett, do you want to add anything?
Just one thing here, Bella, just sent me a direct note here. Is the group also meant to be active after this week?
Yes.
We'll continue being
Great
up
question.
after this week. So, yeah, part of our intent here is to provide a forum for you guys in the spirit of the mastermind context to have conversations with each other and just to, kind of, access resources, here's what's up with me. What do you think about this? That sort of thing. So that will continue to be a live, active group for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and both Blaine and I are admins. We monitor the group, so if anything comes in and you're looking for us too, that's an easy way sometimes to reach out to us is through the LinkedIn group. So, all right.
Okay.
On that
So we'll
note,
see everybody tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the West Coast. So those of you that are in Europe or Japan or Denmark or
Redondo Beach.
Uganda, wherever you may be, just kind of make the temporal adjustment on times, and we'll see what we can do. And it's great having everybody here today. Thank you so much for, kind of hanging with us, and hope that you found today useful. Yeah.
Awesome.
Great.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Bye,
Take
everybody.
care.
Bye.
See everybody tomorrow.